Hi everyone, this is Joy for Honeybee Stamps. For today's project, I have two cards that I have made using the To My Butter Half stamp and coordinating die set. One is a square card and the other is a 4-bar card. Now I'm starting with the square card and I have die cut some circle frames using the Circle Thin Frames die. And I'm just going to add this to a piece of white cardstock because I want to make a plate for the eggs and toast to sit on. So I'm going to adhere down that frame. I die cut that frame from the Love Letters 6x6 paper pad. I did not have a coordinating die large enough to match this circle frame, so I'm just adhering this to some white cardstock and I'm just going to trim around that frame, and then we will have a great little plate that's going to go on our square card. Now the square card measures 5 by 5, and as you see there, it's just centered in the center. And the other white cardstock that I used is a little bit of an off-white. I did want that to stand out differently from the background. Now I'm going to do some stenciling on this card base, and I'm using the Whimsical Hearts stencil, and I'm also going to use Spun Sugar Distress Oxide ink. I'm just keeping it pretty simple on the background, but I did want to have some interest to the back of this card. So I'm just using Honeybee Stamps blender brush with the Distress Oxide ink Spun Sugar, just adding that lightly to this whole background of this square card. When I'm done and I pull it back, you're going to see these really sweet and cute hearts. There also is a Whimsical Hearts die that has these really fun, kind of funky hearts on the die as well. So now in my MISTI, I am stamping up the cute images from To My Butter Half. I have got the piece of toast, the egg, and the jam jar. Also a little pat of butter. I'm going to do a second pat of butter, a second piece of toast, and a second egg. I'm stamping this with Copic friendly ink, black ink, because I will be doing some Copic coloring. So I'm just going to stamp those until I get a good crisp image. Now for the Copic coloring. For the piece of toast, I am using E31, 55, 57, and 59. Now I did start here with the E37, but I do end up trading that out because it didn't blend as well as I wanted it to blend with the E55. So that's where I am coming in with the E57 here. And then that blends much better with the E55. I just want to give this a nice, good toasty look. And so I'm just adding good brown colors. I'm going to go a little bit darker on the edge of the piece of toast because you know the crust is always a little bit darker. Now in this stamp set, it's really a super cute stamp set. All these images here are the main images in the stamp set. There also is quite a few sentiments. One says, "You make me melt," "You're a good egg," "You're the best thing since sliced bread," "To my butter half," "We belong together," and "You're totally my jam." Now really quick, I want to add that I'm just adding a few dots. I'm starting with the darkest color of E59, and I'm just adding some dots, and I'm going down in color all the way down to E31 to give texture to the piece of toast. The butter here is Y11 and Y23. Now the stamp set is really darling, and what I like about Honeybee Stamps so much is that all of the sentiments have coordinating dies in the coordinating die set, and I think that's fantastic. There also is a heart, and there's 4 cute little faces that you could add to these images if you wanted to. Now for this yolk is Y06, 19, and 38. It looks a little bit orange here, but as I'm adding the yellow, it kind of softens and blends out. And when I come in at the end, we're going to add some glossy accents to some of these images, and it really makes that egg yolk look fabulous. Now I'm coming in on the egg yolk with C1 and C2 because if you just have a white image, you need to add some gray to it or a blue to it to kind of give it some life. So I didn't want to just leave it uncolored, so I just added a little bit of gray, and then I blended that out with my blender pen. Now I'm coloring this jar of jam with RO5, 46, 39, and 89. I think this is just a cute little jar. And then that top little portion that I left open between the the lid and the jam, I'm going to color in with B0000, not the whole part, just a little bit to make it look like glass. Now I think the sentiment that goes with this is so cute. You're totally my jam is the sentiment that goes with this little jam jar, and I just think that's so darling. Now, because I've laid that color down fairly heavy, I'm just going to do the coordinating dies right now. I'm going to let that dry a little bit because I'm going to come back in and add a little bit more detail to the jam itself. I want to add some darker dots so it looks like there's seeds in this. This could be a strawberry jam or a raspberry jam. So now I'm coming in with that blue B0000, adding a little bit of that at the top of the jar there. And then for the lid, I'm going to do a little bit of paper piecing. So I'm going to stamp that jar one more time. This pattern paper is from the Love Letters 6x6 paper pad. And I'm going to ink that up again with just some black ink, and I'm going to come in and fussy cut out just that top part, and I'm cutting directly on that black line, kind of at the bottom of that black line. And then I'm just going to adhere that down to the top of the jar, and this will look like fabric over the jar when you get those cute little jars at like a farmer's market or something like that that has the really pretty little fabric. So I will adhere that down, and then I'm going to come in with R89. And I'm going to start on the outsides where it's a little bit darker with this darker marker. It's kind of the same concept that I did with the toast. And then I'm going to come in with a less, so this is R46, so a little bit lighter marker, working my way towards the center. And I'm just going to keep doing that until it looks like we have little seeds inside of our jam jar. So finishing that up with R05 right in the center. And look at how cute that is. Okay, so now back to the plate. I am coming in with C1, adding a little bit of shading around the lip of the plate and then blending it out just gently with my blender pen. Now in my MISTI, I have this set up so I can stamp my sentiment that says "to my butter half." And obviously you could use any of these sentiments that would be darling, but I liked that one. I think it's so, so cute. And now I'm going to adhere down the two little pats of butter, the eggs, and then the toast. And then we've got our cute little plate set up. And I just think these are so darling. I did not add any foam adhesive behind any of these images like I would normally do. I did not want these to pop up. I'm going to add foam adhesive behind the whole plate, and that will pop off of the card. Coming in with that C1 for a little bit of shadow around my images on the plate. And I'm also going to do the same thing around the sentiment itself. It felt a little bit flat, so I definitely wanted to add some more dimension looking to that. So here's the foam tape, and this again is on our square card base that we did some stenciling with. Now I'm going to come in and stencil the 4-bar card. This is measured 3.5 by 4 7/8, and I'm actually going to do the ombre effect. I'm not going to go all the way down to the bottom. I'm starting at the top with the heaviest ink, and I'm not re-inking, and I'm just going down, not all the way to the bottom. So I probably left the bottom quarter undone, and isn't that really super cute? So this 4-bar card is going to have the one piece of toast and the jelly. So I needed to freehand the spread of jelly. So I just brought in a black micro pen and just freehanded the little splotch of jelly. And I'm going to come in and color it exactly the same with the R05, 46, 39, and 89. And I will also add the same little dots on that were inside of the jelly jar. So just coloring it the same, laying down my lightest color, coming in with a darker around the outside edge, working in from the outside with the medium color, and then blending it out with the lightest color again. Now I'm going to add the sentiment to the bottom of this 4-bar card. You're totally my jam, inking that up with black ink. And then we're going to glue these cute little images onto this. And these would be cute with the little faces stamped on. I opted to not do that this time, obviously, but that would be super darling. So I'm going to add foam tape behind both of them. I'm just going to center that in that card, just a little bit on a tilt, and that one's done. Now here's where I'm coming in to add the shadow to the sentiment. Again, it just felt a little bit flat, so I'm coming in with C1 and just going around the right side of each of the letters. Now let's add some really cute hearts. I've got Kiss Me clay hearts and Hug Me clay hearts. The Kiss Me clay hearts are these red ones here, and I'm just going to adhere that down with Honeybee Stamps glue. And then the pink ones are the Hug Me clay hearts. And on that jar, I have 2 little red hearts that I'm going to adhere down where that little tie is, and that turned out really super cute as well. Now I'm coming in with the Glossy Accents, and this is just going to finish everything off. So I'm adding it to my 2 little pats of butter. I'm also adding it to the egg yolks, and I'm just coming in with a fine tip tool and making sure that around the edges it's not like jagged looking. So I just use the tool to kind of move around Glossy Accents. If you have ever decorated with royal icing, you do use like a little pick tool to kind of help move around the icing. So it's the same concept. So I did that to the jelly on the toast, and I am going to do that to the whole jar. So here's where I'm using my tool just to meet it up against the cute little cloth coming down at the top. And then I'm going to finish filling all of this in. It looks a little cloudy now, but it will dry completely clear and give you a nice good shine on your images. So once that's done, then I'm just going to adhere those 2 little red hearts, the little Kiss Me clay hearts. And then these cards are finished. And how darling is that? And look at that great Glossy Accents. Anybody would love to get these cute little Valentine cards. And then here's the square card. Again, this is 5 by 5, and you've got this big plate of goodies. I want to thank you guys so very much for stopping by and watching. I hope that you've enjoyed this project, and I will see you guys soon. Bye!